I was raised in a intact family. My mother and father both loved one another, raised in a Catholic home, but there was dysfunction, and my mother worked outside of the home as well. And I was left with a babysitter, a friend of the family, and my earliest childhood memories of the dysfunction of sexual brokenness came in as a result of the friend of a family molesting me as a little boy at 6 years of age. This man very kindly drew me into a place of just trust. And in that place of trusting him, he drew me into the mindset that what he was doing was somehow loving me. And so I was molested. That brought in a lot of distortion into my mind and my thinking about who I was as a little boy, in my sexuality. At the same time, in my early upbringing, my dad was career military, and he was gone really pretty much the first 5 years of my life, of my formative first 5 years of coming into gender development. So I had a lot of feminine with my mother and my sister overtones in my upbringing, along with this sexual distortion that came in. And that brought a lot of insecurity about who I was as a little boy and my sexuality. So all this distortion came into my mind. A friend of the next door neighbor was visiting, and in a hot Oklahoma summer, as a 10-year-old little boy, I was running around without a shirt on with jean cutoffs, and I was putting up a croquet set in the garage. And as I was putting this croquet set up, this man followed me in and closed the door, and again said that the reason why that this was happening is because I wanted this to happen. And so in the midst of that, I would cry out to God, I need your help. Help me in this, especially when puberty came along. And so at about the age of 13, I remember feeling very attracted to my same sex. And as I would process that and think through that, being raised in Catholicism, I knew it was wrong, and I couldn't control my feelings. And I had this lust that was burning in me, and unfortunately started believing that I was born gay. And so I started having this dialogue with God, and actually bitter dialogue, and finally at a place where I became suicidal in my thinking. And unfortunately, I had somebody who was watching me. This man spoke over and he said, well, you're either gay or bisexual, and it's really okay because so many people are. And I was really struck by that. I thought I was a misfit. And unfortunately, that drew me into the darkness of engaging in peer and seeking out men that were older than me in relationship, trying to fulfill this place of relationship inside of my heart. I found myself being drawn in by men that were in great places of authority, men who were strong. They found me as a young man attractive and desirable, and so I began this new world of trying to forge a relationship with men who some could have been almost the age of my father. And it just revealed an unfolding inside of me of how I was longing for something that was very distorted in sexuality, but an actual legitimate need of trying to connect with healthy relating that should have come through my relationship with my father. In 1981, on Mother's Day, my little brother, 18 months younger than me, passed away very, very suddenly. And as a result of that, this trauma coming into my life and being confronted with eternity, I started crying out to God. It really confronted me of the realities of heaven and hell and made me think, where is my brother? Where is he? Where is he, in heaven or is he in hell? And so I really was engaging the Lord and saying, I want to know truth. In 1983, we heard about this mysterious disease in Oklahoma City. And at that same time, I'm hearing, if you do not accept me, you're going to die. And I remember thinking, I need to know God. And some people think that's kind of extreme, but it was the mercy, the tender mercies of God over my life. As I look back now, 30 years ago, and how the Lord prevented me from dying. You see, what happened is half of the people that I knew in the gay community, they died within a few short years. The Lord prevented me from death because I listened to His voice and I surrendered. I yielded to Him. And in yielding to Him, I submitted to some other believers. And I knew I had to get away from homosexuality and from anybody that had anything to do with homosexuality. I just intrinsically knew. And that was safety for me because I was able to thrive in a community that was absolutely surrendered to Jesus Christ. And so that night I got saved when He said to me, if you do not accept me tonight, you're going to die. He delivered my soul from a pit, from a terrible pit. He delivered my soul from Sheol. And it was like, thank you, Lord. And my whole life, really, over the last 30 years, has been this place of continued gratefulness. And that's all I've ever wanted to do is just serve the Lord and find ways to make a difference. And that's really what my life is about now, is how can I make a difference for the glory of Jesus' sake, for the great things He has done for me. He's an amazing God.